What's going on, everyone? This is VHS, and the first series I want to do is a full intensive guide on how to do Call of Duty Zombies in Uefn Fortnite. And when I say intensive, I'm not going to be like, place a box here for the best results. No, this is going to be like all the little tiny bits people like to leave out when doing tutorials. There's going to be a series on this. I'm going to be doing 3 different things in each episode, clearly. Not fast, not slow, just straight to the point and how to do it. If that is what you're looking for, please stay tuned and let's get straight to episode 1 on creating COD zombies in UEFN. Editor's notes here, as you notice on the left side, I'm recording this after I did this whole video, is I like everything organized. Especially I recommend you to organize everything if you're new to this, so if you make a system and it doesn't work, you know exactly what devices you used. And so I would make subdivisions first. I would make the round system like we did, and then put the 3 devices into there, and then put it into the systems folder, and then the level system, and then do that with the point system, all 3. I just didn't do that, I forgot, so I'm just going to leave that out, and I'm just going to create point system like that, and then just drag that into there, and then drag that into systems, and then there you go, only 3 things there. Alright, back to the video. To start this tutorial off, we're going to do the round system, which I personally think is the easiest to do. You're going to start by getting 2 trackers and a timer, and then name the trackers 1 to round number and 1 to zombie number, and then change the timer to round timer. After you get that done, go into the first one, which should be the zombie tracker. You can switch this to anything you want. This doesn't matter for target value, so you can switch it to anything you want, but keep it on eliminations. And then you can have this, doesn't matter how you want to do this because you'll never see it in game, so you can either keep the sign on or off. It doesn't matter. The title doesn't matter. Everything doesn't matter here until you get to sharing. You want to put that to all, and then complete when target is reached, do nothing. And then showing HUD, you want to do nope. Progress doesn't matter. Complete ceremony, track completion ceremony, no. Player eliminations, nope. Non-player eliminations count, yes. And reset progress, you're just going to hit this arrow, it's going to select itself, and then you're just going to do when complete. And then for increased target value, you're just going to select itself and then hit when complete. And that's it, literally, just for the zombies thing. You can have this repeat all you want over and over and over again. You can have it that way. It does not matter. Now we're going to do the round number. This one's going to be a little bit different. Instead of eliminations, we're going to do events. And then this one, you're just going to put target value to 0. And then all again. Both this time you're going to put detailed. You're going to want this on your HUD this time. And then complete tracker, no, do nothing again. And then you're going to want to put it where it says, you want to put it to everyone again. Sharing all, yep. And then, this time, what you're going to want to do is hit increase target value when the zombies is completed. And there you go. So every time this completes, it's just going to add your target value to this. And you may be asking, why are you increasing the target value, not incrementing it? You could do it either way if you want to do increment progress, but when we get to the more detailed stuff with the HUD, I'm just going to keep it on this one because you can just you can use like a custom widget for the HUD, and you can just put a number there, and that number can transfer to the target value or the increment. So all you're gonna see is just a number, just like in Call of Duty where it's just a number in the corner. You're just gonna see a number instead of seeing like a title saying zombies or a blue box. You won't see that. It's just gonna be a number, just like in Call of Duty. And then what you're going to want to do is have this start the wait, I'm gonna handle myself. For the round timer, you're gonna want to set this to 10 seconds, or however long you want the rounds in between to be. And then countdown. No, you don't need to touch any of this, except for if you don't want to. You can put this to interactive. No. Everyone. Yep. Yep. Completion behavior. You want to reset, and then. If you want it to show on the HUD, I'm not, because like I said, this is a Call of Duty one. If you want to show on the HUD, you do it when timer running. And then show on HUD, no, I'm not going to do that. Use for systems, no. Everything else is fine. You can turn off sound effects if you don't want sound effects. And all you want to do is just hit start when this is completed. And there you go. That is the round system for my Call of Duty Zombies type game. Alright, part 2 of creating my Call of Duty Zombies type game. So, this one's going to be the player level and prestige system. This is completely optional. This is only going to cost 2 devices again, but it's going to be 4 if you count placing multiple than one. But this is super easy. In fact, these grantors are only if you're going to have some sort of buying stuff, and I'll show that later in a different series. But for now, let's just get straight into it. So first off, everything is going to be named. Again, we're going to start naming this. It's going to be stat and then player level. And then the other one is going to be stat, player, prestige. And then if you want, like I said, this is completely optional. This is really if you're only going to have a store. If you're not going to have a store, or if you're not going to use the player tracker, that like the thing above the player's head where it like tracks stuff, so you can show like your like a specific like level. If you want to show off your levels to your friends, you can have that. If you're not going to do those two things, you really don't need to do this one. But if you do, just name this level up reward and prestige reward. I usually am, so I'm gonna do for level up. I'm gonna do an acorn. It doesn't really need to be anything specific. And then for prestige, I'm gonna do a diamond because I'm gonna convert it to a loot box type deal. And now let's get straight into the settings. So stat name, you're going to want to call this level. You don't need to call it levels or level, because once you get into the other devices, when you connect this, it's going to be really weird. Just call it level. And then max value. Now, you want to do math on this. I'm not really good at math on this. I just always do this way, and it works for me every single time. But you want to put this at 100. And then max level, however many levels you want in your game to be. I'm going to do for this tutorial, I'm just going to do 25. And then this is how much you want to go up each level. So if you go at a 1.1, next level instead of 100 be 110, etc., etc. So I'm going to do 1.2. And to get a gist of what this is going to look like for higher levels, every 10 levels is going to be 1,000. So once you hit level 20, it'll be 2,000, and but I'm at 25, so it'll be 2,500. That's how much XP you're going to need. Like I said, the zombies, it really depends on how much XP you get per zombie. I usually do 10, so it takes 10 zombies to level up, because again, this is Fortnite, not Call of Duty, so your playstyle is going to be way different than if this was Call of Duty. Keep that in mind. But other than that, you're going to want to keep all this. I would recommend you put this to 2, because if you hover over it, the HUD priority, put this to 2. If you hover over it, if it works, is it going to work? It says higher numbers will show first on the list, and you're going to have 3 of them. So put that 2 because you're going to have one above it. And then the one below it is going to be the prestige. So it's going to be right in the middle for your player level. So just put that to 2. And then use persistence. I'm not going to do this right now strictly for testing, or it's going to look really weird when you're testing it and broken. A lot of stuff when you're play testing a game and you go to launch session and play it, a lot of the HUD elements do not work, and it's not because you didn't do it correctly. It's just that's how it is. So we're just going to keep that in there. Intro animation, you don't really need to worry about this because what we're going to do is keep this on show and HUD, yes. So all these fading stuff is not going to matter because it's constantly going to be showing. And then what you want to do is reset stat, click the device that it is, and then maximum level reached. And that's literally it. And then you're going to go to prestige, you're going to do level up, increase level. You're just going to hit the little the last one and then just click on the player level and click on reach maximum. And then for this one, you're going to leave this at 1 for high priority. The player prestige is going to be 1. And then you're going to call this prestige. And then you're not going to put on maximum value or nothing. That just means it's going to lock it into infinite numbers. So there's actually, I lied, that's for the point system. This is the prestige system, so you want to do maximum of that. And the way the stat creator works, it's really weird. It starts you off at level 1. So if you want to do 5 prestiges, you're going to have to put this to 4. It's 1 below whatever you want. So put that to 4. This doesn't matter. Changing this ain't gonna matter because you're just gonna be using strictly just leveling up through entering this. So you're gonna automatically prestige instead of how Call of Duty's days is you have to go and manually prestige. You're not gonna do that. It's just gonna automatically prestige. And then that's pretty much it. And then if you're doing the grantors, you can either skip this part if you're doing the grantors. But if you are doing the grantors, you're going to want to hit keep all, and then just for nothing breaks, just do all items for on grant, and then put whatever item you want your level to represent. It could be literally anything. I'm just doing acorn as the first thing in the items list, and then how many you want the player to have. You can adjust that to whatever you want. And then on grant cycle, I always turn that off because if you like have a thing where it's going to switch cycle through them, it will grant it when you're cycling them. So you don't want that, so you're going to turn that off. And that's pretty much it. And then on grant, hit the little marker thingy and then hit player level, and then you just hit on level up. Same thing for your prestige reward. Go everything's the same. Both of the grantors are exactly the same. The only difference is going to be on grant. You're just going to hit player prestige and then on value, on level up. That's it for the level system. Alright, so part 3 is the point system. In fact, this is going to be the fastest one of this whole video. That's why I put it last. Because we're not going to connect anything to this until we start doing the zombie stuff, which will be in next episode. So all we're going to do is just take your prestige, just alt left click and just drag the arrow over, and you're going to name this 2 points like that. And then this is what I was telling you about. Put that back to 1, and then put this max value. Just click that off. So now it's going to just be infinite. You're just going to get infinite amount of points. And then all you want to do is just hit the trash can on increase level, like that. And that is all for the point system for this episode. You might be at the point system, so I apologize for that. It will work easier if we do that when the zombies are here, because I don't want to set up the zombies just to delete them and to show you in the next episode. That just doesn't make sense. So we're just going to leave it at that. So thank you for watching this episode of creating COD Zombies in Fortnite. See you in the next one.